Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel Legal Decipher. In the previous video, we had discussed about chapter 36 of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. If you have not seen that video, you can go and check it. The link is in the description below. In today's video, we're going to discuss about chapter 37 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. We'll go through the chapter and try to understand how the Criminal Procedure Code is followed and how the criminal courts work. So if you're new here, please like and subscribe to my channel to get the video notifications. So let's get started. So today we are going through chapter 37, which basically is the last chapter of this entire code. It is relating to miscellaneous provisions. So section 474 talks about trials before high courts. It says when an offense is tried by the high court otherwise than under section 407. So if it is not under 407 but still it is tried by the high court, then in those cases or in those offenses, it shall in the trial of the offence observe the same procedure as a court of sessions would observe if it were trying the case. So the procedure that is followed by the court of sessions will also be followed by the high court. Section 475 talks about delivery to commanding officers of persons liable to be tried by court martial. So the central government may make the rules consistent with this code Act 1950, Navy Act 1957, Air Force Act 1950 and any other law relating to the armed forces of the Union. So for the time being in force, as to cases in which persons subject to military, naval or air force law or such other law shall be tried by a court to which this code applies or by a court martial. So an armed forces personnel will be either tried by a court to which this code applies or by a court martial. So there are two provisions to deal with such cases. And when any person is brought before a magistrate and charged with an offence for which he is liable to be tried either by a court to which this code applies or by a court martial, then such magistrate shall have regard to such rules and shall in proper cases deliver him together with the statement of the offence of which he is accused to the commanding officer of the unit to which he belongs. So the magistrate will, along with a statement, hand over such personnel to the commanding officer from which unit he belongs, or to the commanding officer of the nearest military, naval or air force station, as the case may be, for the purpose of being tried by a court martial. Now explanation says that in this section, unit includes a regiment, corps, ship, detachment, group, battalion or company. Court martial includes any tribunal with the power similar to those of a court martial constituted under the relevant law applicable to the armed forces of the Union. For the purpose by the commanding officer of any unit or body of soldiers, sailors or airmen stationed or employed at any such place, use his utmost endeavours to apprehend and secure any person accused of such offence. So if the magistrate receives a written application from any commanding officer that a personnel of the armed forces is to be apprehended and secured, then the magistrate on such application may use utmost endeavours to comply with such application. A high court may, if it thinks fit, direct that a prisoner detained in any jail situated within the state be brought before a court martial for trial or to be examined touching any matter pending before the court martial. So the high court may direct that a prisoner who is detained in any jail that is situated within the state be brought before a court martial for trial or to be examined touching any matter that is pending before such court martial. So the High Court has the power to do so. Now 476 talks about forms. It says subject to the power conferred by Article 227 of the Constitution, the forms set forth in the second schedule with such variations as the circumstances of each case require, may be used for the respective purposes therein mentioned, and if used shall be sufficient. So the forms that are mentioned in the second schedule will be used for these purposes and it shall be sufficient to it. Now section 477 talks about power of High Court to make rules. It says every High Court may, with the previous approval of the state government, make rules as to what? As to the persons who may be permitted to act as petition writers in the criminal court subordinate to it, or as to regulating the issue of licenses to such persons, the conduct of business by them, and the scale of fees to be charged by them, and also to the providing a penalty for a contravention of any of the rules so made and determining the authority by which such contravention may be investigated and the penalties imposed, or any other matter which is required to be or may be prescribed. So the High Court will have the power, after consulting the state government, to do all these things. Section 478 says that power to alter functions allocated to executive magistrate in certain cases. It says if the legislative assembly of a state has by resolution so permitted, then the state government may, after consultation with the High Court, by notification direct that references in section 108, 109, 110, 145 and 147 to an executive magistrate shall be construed as references to a judicial magistrate of the first class. So executive magistrates will be thought to be equivalent to judicial magistrate of the first class as referred to in sections 108, 109, 110, 145 and 147 if the legislative assembly of the state by resolution so permits and the state government, after consultation with the High Court, so makes it. Now section 479 says that case in which judge or magistrate is personally interested. It says no judge or magistrate shall, except with the permission of the court to which an appeal lies from this court, try or commit for trial any case to or in which he is a part. So the magistrate will not be permitted to try or commit any case in which he is personally a party or he is personally interested, except with the previous permission of the appellate court. And no judge and magistrate shall hear an appeal from any judgment or order passed by or made by himself. So the explanation says that a judge or magistrate shall not be deemed to be a party or personally interested in any case by reason only that he is concerned therein in a public capacity. So his public capacity won't be making him personally interested or a party thereto, or by reason only that he has viewed the place in which an offence is alleged to have been committed, the place of occurrence of the offence. If there was this magistrate and he has viewed the place, then that will not also make him personally liable. Section 480 says that practicing pleader not to sit as magistrate in certain courts. So no pleader who practices in the court of any magistrate shall sit as a magistrate in that court or in any court within the local jurisdiction of that court. Now section 481 says that public servant concerned in sale not to purchase or bid for property. So a public servant having any duty to perform in connection with the sale of any property under this code shall not purchase or bid for the property. So he will have no such power to bid for the property. So section 482 says that saving of inherent powers of High Court. It says nothing in this code shall be deemed to limit or affect the inherent powers of the High Court to make such order as may be necessary to give effect to any order under this code or to prevent abuse of the process of any court or otherwise to secure the ends of justice. So section 482 talks about the inherent powers of the High Court. So the High Court has an inherent power to limit or affect or make any such order as may necessary to give effect or prevent the abuse of process of any court or otherwise secure the ends of justice. Now section 483 says that duty of High Court to exercise continuous superintendence over courts of judicial magistrates. So every High Court shall so exercise its superintendence over the courts of judicial magistrates subordinate to it as to ensure that there is an expeditious and proper disposal of cases by such magistrates. So the High Court will have the authority to supervise or superintend over the judicial magistrate courts. Now, section 484, which is the last section of this chapter as well as this code, it says that the Code of Criminal Procedure of 1898 is hereby repealed. Now, this section is not that important for the competitive exams, so I'm not going to discuss this one. So this is the end of the Code of Criminal Procedure, and this section clearly says that the Code of Criminal Procedure of 1898, that was prior to the 1973 version, is hereby repealed by this 1973 Act. So that's all in this video. If you like my videos, then don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video.